Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Marcus Hurley.
Altered Carbon came out a few weeks ago on Netflix, and Ian was hyping the hell out of this on the very last episode that we did, or the last episode that went live anyway at the time of recording. Basically, this is about a kind of a terrorist gets put on ice, as it were. Basically, the fiction of this game, it does feel like a game sometimes. The fiction of this show, it's based on a book. There was 3 books apparently, and the fiction is that basically you can't die. When you die, your consciousness gets loaded onto a stack, which can then be put into a new body. When criminals when people commit crimes, they also aren't put in prison. Their body is put on ice. So you end up in a lot of cases where people will die and then come back as somebody who committed a crime previously. So that's an interesting angle as well. But anyway, this particular guy gets woken up to solve the murder of a particularly rich individual who's so rich that not only does he have his stack, he has a stack. His stack is backed up, so even if he gets shot in the stack, he can get a backup that's from a satellite or something.
He's got a cloud backup, hasn't he? Yeah, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's it. And also he's got his own kind of warehouse of clone bodies, so he can maintain his own sleeve, they call it. Because
that's the other gimmick, isn't it? The fact that you've got people that were coming back. It wasn't just criminals. It was people that had died in accidents as well. Because there was a scene which really kind of got me for a little bit where this family are waiting for someone to come back, and you see this older woman sort of walking along, and they're kind of crying, and they're both looking at each other, and then they're like, "What the hell's wrong with you? What?" And they're saying she was like 12 or 14 or something like that, and now she's in the body of this 40, maybe 50-year-old woman or something like that, and it's just crazy because she still has the mind of a 14-year-old. Yeah,
you have men coming back as women coming back as men.
Yeah.
There's one particularly good episode. It's not really too much of a spoiler, but it's Day of the Dead, and one of the characters is Mexican, and there's basically a criminal comes in, and he's an asshole, so they put him on ice, and basically she gets her nan out of storage and puts her nan into this kind of big bald tattooed geezer. I take it you haven't got that far with this?
No, I'm just on the 3rd episode, so I'm going to start watching more, but it was just there was a few other things. I've not had a chance to sit down and watch them, but I think I will do on the journey. I'll download them to my phone and I'll start watching them. No, it's cool. I don't mind. I mean, to be honest...
Sorry, that was a spoiler for the very next episode, because I've just seen the synopsis on IMDb.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't mind. To be honest, I'm still enjoying a lot of it. I heard some people might have some issues with it, and I think it's one of those shows I think we had a discussion about this already, where it can be a bit polarizing because it's so much like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Crossed with Ghost in the Shell, where it kind of makes you question the idea of what makes a person human, because you basically, all of your consciousness is in this stack. It's in your brain, but it's also in this chip. So as long as you're not shot in the head, I think, as long as it's not decapitated or shot in the stack, you can be brought back.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder, what does it mean to be human?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a real fan of like cyberpunk stuff, and I think like my original problem with the original Blade Runner was that I love that world, but I didn't get to spend enough time in it.
Yeah.
And this kind of solves that problem, because it's 10 episodes, They get to do a lot. They get to flashback. Honestly, even rewatching, I've watched scenes of this show again, and there are twists in the series that if you go back to previous episodes, they'll play out completely again. I'm really tempted to actually watch this all again because I did actually start watching the first episode.
Have you watched it all?
I did it all in a day.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
brilliant.
Well, I watched the first episode on my way home on a Friday night. Went to the pub for some reason. Was mega hungover all of Saturday, and maybe because I just sat there and watched the whole goddamn thing, but I just couldn't get enough of it. I just drank it up like a milkshake. Yes. Yeah, I just absolutely loved it. I think I liked that it had a really definite arc. There's a resolution at the end. It doesn't blatantly go, oh, wait a year to find out what happens. You know, it was wrapped up, but definitely like there's room to do more. I don't know if they've commissioned a second series yet. I need to look that up right now, actually. But you know, because Netflix are notoriously cagey.
Yeah.
But apparently they have got ideas. Oh, hang on. Here we go. What's this? The Express. All right, take this with a pinch of salt. Altered Carbon star Joel Kinnaman has opened up about returning to the show for a second season. He's now changed his tune. So he would come back. Because the thing is, it doesn't even need to have a lot of the original cast. Joel Kinnaman is like leading this, but he's just a sleeve for the actual main character. So it's true. All the flashbacks, the character as the original character is gone. It could just be anyone. Yeah. No, there's definitely buzz about season 2, and I really hope there is another one because I absolutely loved it. Just the production value of this show, it's just stunning. You know, when they first come out above the clouds, and it's just like, well, this is TV. What the fuck?
And also, being you can definitely tell it's a cable show as well, because when they did go to the rich person's house in like the first episode, and I was like, people don't wear bras in the future, do they?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of nakedness in this show.
It's definitely a Netflix, definitely a cable sort of adult show. But yeah, I think it's just an emphasis. Like, we can do what we want. We can make it noir. We can make it seedy. We can make it futuristic. We can make it violent. Like when he goes to the Raven, and the owner, the AI owner goes, "Oh, a customer." And then it's like, yeah, they're crazy. They defend the customer.
Yeah, so they get a bit possessive.
As he's getting beaten up, he signs the thing, and then he goes crazy, and the Gatling guns come out the ceiling. And
you just sign here, sir. We can provide full
sign here
amenities.
Yeah, and he's like, the guy's getting beaten up. He's like, sign here. Yeah. Continuously, and then when he does, he just brings out a shotgun and just starts going nuts.
I think it's it's got like it's got the sort of fun cheekiness of Firefly. It's got like the sort of crazy sci-fi stuff of Blade Runner. It's got like the sort of campness of Fifth Element. It's just hitting all of the bases for me.
It does literally. Yeah, I was thinking that it was a mashup between Blade Runner, Firefly, Fifth Element, and Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell definitely.
People are, the way that the troopers are, and you got the big panning shots. But Ghost in the Shell in itself was influenced by Blade Runner, so there's that sort of insidious thing going on. Anyway,
I also like how they use VR as a punishment. Like they do horrid torture, like psychological and physical. You've seen episode 3, haven't you?
Not yet. No.
Oh right,
I'm a little bit through it. Don't worry about it.
I think we're going to be talking about this a bit more later in the year. Cool. Once you've seen it all, mate, because it was I loved it. Really did.
Well, we'll try and get Ian to watch it and see what he thinks. But then he didn't like the new Blade Runner, did he? I don't think.
No, I was playing online with him last night, and he's been very quiet about stuff lately, and I just sort of said, "Have you watched Altered Carbon?" He's like, "Nah, I couldn't really get into it." I'm like, "Have you got like a problem with trench coats?" What is it? What's the problem?
That's why he won't meet me in person.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah. What else? What else you been watching, mate?
I don't really know. I think that was kind of. I've been watching series 2 of The Expanse, but we've already covered that. Just sort of started that. I see what you mean about the big thing that happens at the end of the first series. Then walking into a room and then
Yeah, I mean that's another one. Like I think there was a series of I think the first series of Vikings. It's like they finished it. And then they didn't like really finish that arc until like season 2, and I think that's what The Expanse does as well. It's like season 2 starts halfway through season 2. Yeah. It's got like
you
a
just
whole
chucked
new...
in the middle, and you're like, "Who are these people?" And you're just left picking up the pieces, and then you kind of go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I really...
No, it's all intriguing. though. I'm loving the world. Like I said, it's another case of world building where I'm really enjoying being there and just seeing who's going to make it out, where it's going, what the mysteries that they're trying to solve, whilst basically they're not even trying to solve any mysteries. They're just trying to get out of the way of everything that's trying to kill them, frame them, or hold them for questioning. But they just always seem to be in the middle of it all. And I quite enjoy that, because it's almost a bit like they're just bumbling from one plot to the other. Yeah. But it's just through just sheer bad luck.
I love the whole like Mars Earth dynamic. The fact that there's Martians that grew up and Earth is like an alien place to them. I like the girl who's like the commando. Like I think all her arc is really good. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, cool. I've got to shout out probably just a couple more things really. First one is I think it's the 4th season of Inside No.9. Some of the best telly I've seen in ages. It's an anthology show. It's Reece Sheersmith and Steve Pemberton from the League of Gentlemen, and what they can accomplish in 30 minutes, honestly, almost puts Black Mirror to shame. When it first started, they were kind of going more for like the horror sort of stuff. But they've kind of gone into some other directions. I wouldn't say there's like 6 episodes in a season. I wouldn't say every single episode has been a home run, but most of them have. Some of it goes really dark. I don't want to spoil it at all. I just have to emphasize that it's so worth checking out. I think the first 2 seasons are on Amazon, and the latest season might still be on iPlayer. Probably not all of it though. So yeah, worth a look. They're like half an hour long, and it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Just the same as Black Mirror, really. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, obviously, I've been watching some shows I don't mention anymore because you get a strange twitch in your eyebrow.
Like the Flash?
No, I haven't been watching any of the CW superhero shows. I've kind of put them on ice for a bit.
Okay.
Gone back to sort of watching more Buffy because we put that on ice.
Okay.
But I'm currently continuing to watch season 13 of Supernatural.
Oh, okay.
Now we've lost Rob.
No, it's fine. Season 13, that's hilarious.
I know, it's fucking mental. You know what? Let's put it this way. It's become so strange, even where, as sort of like avid, borderline rabid at times, fans of the series, even we're questioning what the hell they have left to do. Because it's, I don't know, it's like, I mean, a lot of people have been talking about this TV show called Lucifer.
Oh yeah.
And how he's basically like, it's like a cop show where it's Lucifer teaming up with a cop and they solve mysteries. But he seems, not camp, but he seems a bit weird because the Lucifer in this show is camp, but he's evil as fuck. As in, literally, he clicks his fingers and people explode. And he just like goes like, ooh, that was messy. Ooh. And he like properly tortures people. You know, he just clenches his fists and people just start like choking and coughing up blood, like properly coughing up blood. And like he's crushing their hearts and stuff like that. He just incinerates people, kills them, does horrible things, tortures them. So I've just, you know, I don't know. It's really weird. You've got like the angel character that popped up in season 3 or 4, and he's now become a staple character called Castiel, who was based on his look was based on Constantine. He's basically wearing a suit and a tan trench coat, but he acts a bit like Columbo. So he doesn't get the whole human thing, and he's had a whole story arc where he's become human and, you know, found out all this sort of stuff and all that sort of thing. But yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, we're kind of still enjoying it, but we can kind of see that there probably would be the end in sight if it carries on. I mean, it's still going to be. It's one of the few shows that's still a 23 episode arc, which is quite rare these days.
This is Supernatural.
Yeah, but I can see how if it does survive further than this season, next season probably should be the last, because they are kind of running out of ideas.
Okay.
And I think it kind of needs to go out to pasture now.
Yeah, speaking of shows that should probably stop, I've been
Homeland.
No, I've been watching the latest X-Files. Have you seen any of this?
I haven't seen any of it. I've seen people's opinions on it on social media. I don't know. I've not seen any of it. How crazy is it? Because I sense they know they're probably not going to get any more after this, so they're kind of just going, let's just do what the hell we want. This is like X-Files the musical. La la la.
It's properly bonkers. I've only watched the first 2, but I remember when it came back. I don't know if I'm pretty sure when it came back. Yeah, it was. It seemed to be sort of in control of itself. It was kind of like bookends. There was only 6, so it was like bookends. It had Joel McHale in it playing some sort of like conspiracy TV show host or something, and it seemed like it was like reasonably in control of itself. And then it kind of went a little bit weird and cartoony, sort of in the middle. This one seems to be just like pedal to the metal the whole time, and because obviously it's a little bit further along, they've decided they're going back into the proper deep canon shit. So, like, the smoking man is Mulder's dad. Didn't know that. Is that just...
I don't remember if that was canon. What the fuck?
Yeah, but that's... Yeah, there you go.
What?
There
really?
you go. Yeah,
I
that's a fact. I know, this might have happened while he was off the show, maybe. And he's come back and he's like, oh, you did that? Oh, fuck, okay, yeah, that's what's happening. And it's like every episode, like whatever happens, they always end up like talking to some sort of 50 or 60-year-old shady person who knows much more than they do. And then they go and see Skinner, and he's just really frustrated and angry because he can't tell them everything that they need to know. And it's just like,
wow,
but he has to be really hard.
Again.
It's exactly that. It really is. It's completely balmy. So, yeah, if you fancy, like, just putting your head in a blender for, like, a little while...
I'm totally up for that.
Yeah, it's quite good fun, actually.
Yeah.
I just put it on and Matt was watching it. He was like... It was like the second episode. He was like, yeah, I never really cared about that show anyway. I put it on and he was just like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what are they... They're running away. And he's shot her now. And, and he's still alive. Oh, I thought he died a minute ago. It's fucking balmy, absolutely balmy. There's no wonder that Anderson said she's not doing any more after this, because, my God, they're putting her through the grinder on this.
Yeah,
it's really, really mad. There are a couple of other things that I've watched that aren't really sort of aren't going to be in consideration for like show of the year or anything like that. But I watched all of Blood Drive.
Yeah, I'm glad you have. quite fun, isn't it?
I think that show.
I loved it. Loved it.
That show, yeah, is like proper Grindhouse, where it's actually, it's even though the end result is like they just threw everything at the wall. It's actually a lot more intelligent than it initially seems. Like, it's really smart. Like, the actors are really good, even though they're like completely cast like Johnny Rico in Starship Troopers and stuff. That's intentional, you know, in the same way that it was intentional in Starship Troopers. It's satirical. Like, Slink, the guy who hosts the show, he's basically like, it's like a meta thing about the whole show's existence. I think they knew they were getting cancelled before the first season was up.
That's what I'm saying. It's just the way that they've somehow woven it into the narrative. The last few episodes, you kind of think, they must have known. They must have known. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's like when Slink just sort of like, you know, he's turning up to speak to head office or whatever, and ends up just like beating someone into a bloody pulp. It's like, what the hell is going on?
And then he ends up as a janitor. It's just like, basically they're taking the show of him because the network people decide what's best to put on telly. And then you're like, this sounds familiar.
That is a classic bit of telly, if you ask me. I think I could rewatch some. I think I did rewatch some of it with my sister the other morning because we'd had a heavy night and I was like, oh yeah, Katie will like this because it's all like hot girls and guys and
fast cars and carnage.
She's just like, it's a bit early for this, isn't it, Rob? I'm like, yeah, but it's cool, isn't it? She's like, yeah, it's cool.
It's just the fact that someone always gets shoved head first into a mincer of an engine. Every episode, there's someone just.
Yeah, and at the start, at least initially, every episode is kind of themed around a different location. Yeah. Like a madhouse or a town that's like full of people that are so high on gas no one can see how like festering and rotten they are. Like, that was quite a good standout one.
The one where and also when they were in the equivalent of like Detroit, where they were worshipping cars and and they had the people that were in the shadows and stuff like that, and the people that were trapped. It was like a motor
is that when
city.
they had to stay in the light?
Yeah, and then it was like, and then their blood, the freaky people's blood was like nitrous.
Yeah.
In the engine, and the green flames shoot out the back, and his cars is like roaring along.
Oh, it's uber.
But it was
great
just
soundtrack.
The fact that it was almost reminded me a bit like Planet of the Apes, where they were worshipping the atomic bomb, the original Planet of the Apes, where they're kind of like, you know, praise to the car makers and all this sort of stuff. And she's got this scepter made from like a monkey wrench and all sorts of bits and engine parts. And I just love how mad they managed to make the whole world.
Yeah.
I think my favourite character in the whole series though was Julian Slink.
Yeah, Slink, for sure. He was on fire.
He was just, I was actually really tearful in the last few episodes because he's the antagonist and you know it's not going to end well for him, but you're rooting for him the whole time, but then because he tangles with the protagonist he can't survive. But I do love how balmy it goes when what's his name, the cop Arthur, where he wins it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He becomes primo, and it suddenly just like goes off, and he's just like, yeah, fuck my morals, forget all that shit. I'm just gonna be a douchebag. He's just like, yeah, I own the world. I'm everything. I'm amazing, and then somehow they've given him the Conan sword. It's just like, what? It's like,
I just let it wash over me, man. Like, it was just
it was fantastic.
It is what it is. But I
wish there was more. I really do wish there was more. I hope Netflix to like revive it or something. I hope it's one of those shows where I don't know. It deserves more.
Yeah, well the thing is, I watched it all on Now TV because you can get Sci-fi is now on Now TV. Yeah. So I might get to see The Expanse a bit quicker because there's normally a bit of a lag on that for Netflix.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think season 3 is supposed to be starting soon. I think should be starting.
Oh, brilliant.
Soon. But yeah.
Also, quick one other thing. What about his partner and that robot? Oh my god!
I want a robot like that.
I'm not sure I do. The
no, I'd have to reprogram it slightly.
The bonding ceremony was pretty rough, especially when it got to the whole gloved part.
Mm.
Well, you're not quite sure whether half of that stuff happened, and he mentions it later on, and you're like, really?
Yeah, the actress who plays the little nymphoid bot, she had a very small part in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but it got cut out.
Ah.
Yeah. Marama Corlett, her name is. Aki, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so cute. In a sort of
pretty cool
Terminator type way. But I just wanted to mention one more show, Maron, which is based on the podcast by Mark Maron, who has been doing the WTF podcast for years. This is all knowledge that I've just acquired over the last few weeks. And I've subbed to the podcast. He's had some interesting people on there. Marilyn Manson, Lord, various actors. I think, who's he got on? I've got one downloaded right now, actually. Who's he got on there? Duncan Jones. He's on there. Heather Graham was on the last one I listened to. But yeah, I didn't realise this, but he made like a show for the American network IFC. They're like a small independent TV network. And yeah, it's all on Netflix at the moment. Can't download it, unfortunately. Don't know why. Legal reasons. But they're like 20-minute episodes, roughly based on his life. And as in the podcast, various random celebrities show up. In particular, I just watched the first episode of season 2, which is called The Talking Dead, which is basically based on him making an appearance on The Talking Dead, which is the Chris Hardwick show.
Yeah.
Who they set up as him having like a bit of a feud with, because Chris Hardwick is also a bit of a podcaster, and he goes on The Talking Dead, and they're sort of pretending that they hate each other, and like he knows nothing about The Walking Dead, but he's seeing this girl who is like 19, and so she fills him in on all this stuff about the show, and he's pointing out all these flaws in the show and stuff, and it's just like, oh god, yeah, he's really spot on actually, even that early on, because it's a few years old now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's well worth checking out if you just want something funny to watch. It's kind of like Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's sort of playing himself.
Okay.
So that's quite good. Yeah,
cool,
that's about it really. I did catch up again on Homeland, just because I saw that was on Netflix, the latest season that I obviously would have watched by now if I gave more of a shit. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of got put off it when you guys were talking about it before, and I just it's completely stupid. But yeah, that's kind of me done, I think. Yeah, I think so. I think it's only a limited number of hours in the day, and I haven't been able to watch as much TV or films as I would like.
I've just been I just use it. I find it like a challenge almost to deal with my commute. And so I have this kind of just tide of shit that I just try to eliminate, like the hours I spend on a train each day. I reckon I could probably get an episode of either The Expanse or probably Altered Carbon, because they're like 45 odd minutes, aren't they, sort of thing. They vary quite wildly on Altered Carbon.
True.
But I even started watching The Detectorists. just because like people had said, oh, that's really sweet, you should try that, and it's just about some guys like who have a really geeky hobby and get ridiculed for it, and it's set in Essex, so yeah, I guess I can relate to it in a way. You have nothing.
I have absolutely nothing to say about that. But I won't judge you either, because, you know, Lord knows we've all watched shows that other people would raise eyebrows or have a minor cardiac arrest over.
Well, I like to have like a little 30-minute
apathy for.
Yeah. I just like to have like a little 30-minute fix, like 30-minute fix on the training, so I can have a little snooze as well. I can't like do a whole hour of something, fall asleep halfway through it, and then, oh God, I'm like halfway through something. The horror. Anyway, man, it's getting late, so we should probably call it a night, I reckon.
It's been a doozy of a session, isn't it?
Yeah, even with all this mad multicolour shit coming out of my head all night.
You've got like a rainbow ponytail. It's quite funny.
I know, it's like...
It's like you are Max Headroom.
My webcam's being a bit weird. It's going all fuzzy because I've got my light on for some reason. I think the electrics in my room are screwed.
Basically, it looks like he's in a rainbow Technicolor multi-Jason Technicolor Dreamcoat version of Tron. Brilliant. Right, I reckon we should probably call it there.
Over and out, mate. This has been the Not Watching podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself, Marcus and Ian talk about video games and virtual reality on the Not Playing podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening podcast. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya.
But the one thing I was hoping it wasn't going to be, and I'm currently watching Black Lightning on Netflix.
Black Lightning!
And I was hoping it wasn't like that, because that is just a strange hip-hop video that just doesn't stop. It tries to be serious, but then he dons the costume and it goes all, yeah, yo, motherfucker, yo, 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 Black Lightning's back. And you're like, I can't take this seriously. He's got a Dayglow jockstrap. Like,
honestly, I watched the first 3 episodes.
It's so cheesy. It's, oh, God. But anyway.
Yeah.
Black Panther's nothing like that. I loved it. I thought it was so much more realised than I even thought it was possibly going to be. But yeah, we'll take the piss out of Black Lightning and we could jump back to Black Panther.
Fine, no, we could... What, you want to talk more about Black Lightning?
Well, you were about to say something. I think we could just rip Black Lightning, the new one, and then we could just get on with our happy lives talking about Black Panther.
All I was going to say was that I gave it 3 episodes because I heard that the first 2 was specifically good, and they were all right. And I quite like the setup and I quite like the effects, but I just can't deal with like the flip between him and his cat and his alter ego. Like it's I mean, it's cool that he's like an older guy, like, and it's kind of a it's a different take, you know. It is a different take. It's a bit more like sort of grizzled Batman or Old Man Logan sort of thing, a bit. But he's got like a hot ex-wife, I suppose, a couple of lovely daughters. And I feel like it's getting a real big pass because it's embracing diversity, and you know, like it feels
to me like it's riding on the coattails of Luke Cage on Netflix.
I think in a way it's more immediately fun than Luke Cage. It's definitely a bit more light-hearted. But yeah, there's just not enough meat on the bone for me.
Although, since you don't really care about it, I could tell you what's happened later on. There's a drug going around called Greenlight, which has caused kids to start freaking out and get a bit stronger, or have no fear. And his older daughter, the one who does all the marches and stuff like that, she has developed super strength, but through
I knew that was
through controlled breathing or something like that. She's going around.
Yeah,
as a
that's
superhero
right.
now.
That's right. Yeah, because she was kicking the shit out of washing machines or something. And,
Yeah, she actually went and bought a costume.
She figured it out.
She looks like spandex Beyonce.
Oh, she's got a costume now. Okay.
Yeah,
well, I suppose that was inevitable.
Yeah, exactly. Well, her dad's going around in the Dayglow lightning jumpsuit with, like, you know, Daredevil's rejects. So, enough said about that. Let's move on to something completely different.
Yeah, let's talk about Black Panther. So,
right.
Yeah.